Real Agriculture's coverage of Agritechnica 2019 is brought to you by Brevant. Seed, yield, easy. Okay, Sean Haney here with Real Agriculture. We're at Agritechnica 2019 in Hanover, Germany. Brought to you by Brevant. And right now we're in the Horsch booth and we're with Johannes Hottenbacher. Johannes, how's it going?
Pretty good, thanks. How are you?
Doing fantastic. I'm looking forward to hearing about this planter. Now, Horsch is known for a lot of the work it's doing in the European market, also in North America, definitely a growing business. Tell us about what makes this planter different.
Well, what we did with this planter is in 2013, when we first came up with it, was that we were the first that had an electrical metering drive that you could actually run by the electricity from the tractor only. And even more important, I guess, we invented what we call the weight transfer system. So we take the weight of the cart to get a proper and homogeneous downforce on the entire length of the toolbar by taking the weight of the cart and transferring it to the toolbar entirely from left to right.
Okay, but that electric drive that's on the row unit, it's not powered by a generator, it's actually powered by the tractor. Why?
Well, we thought, and that's correct like you explained it, we thought that an additional generator in the back of a planter is exposed to dust, is exposed to rain, is exposed to any natural influence, and that can in the end only cause trouble. And so we wanted to make sure that we do not have that kind of trouble, because our idea when we design any machinery that's around, that we bring to the market, our idea is to have a safe, reliable, and very lasting machine that the farmer can use when he needs it to be used. So saying, in planting, we normally all around the world have pretty tight time windows of the optimal seeding and planting date. And our machinery is designed, and the idea is that you're not maintaining your machine while you actually should plant to make use of that optimal time window of planting. And that was the idea of getting rid of whatever is not really needed and not necessary to have the planter run, and make it by the tractor that you need anyways.
And you mentioned the downforce. It's critical in a planter. Talk about how, and you already mentioned it, but talk about that a little bit more in terms of how you distribute the weight across the entire width of the row unit.
Well, it's actually done by a hydraulic system. So there are hydraulic cylinders underneath the cart that go to the toolbar, and then we have additional hydraulic cylinders that make sure that the weight from the cart is entirely transferred to the wings of the toolbar that makes the folding, and and by that transfer it to, they are kind of locked in. We lock the toolbar in to the weight of taking the weight of the cart, and then lock that weight on the toolbar to the entire leg.
What's the size ranges of your row units?
You mean the row distance?
For the planter. What's the planter width ranges?
The planting width ranges is, well, we count that in rows. So we offer here in Europe, we offer from actually 8 to 36 rows. Starting with the 8 here in Europe on smaller markets, it's 3-point link planters, 8 rows and 12 rows. And then from 12 rows, 16 rows, 18 rows, 24 rows, and 36 rows. That is the design of the Maestro here with the cart, where we have fertilizer and seed in the cart distributed to the row unit.
Yeah. And in North America, is still 36 or higher?
In North America, we're actually going higher. We're going up to 48, but that would be different row width than we have here in Europe. So here in Europe, it's centimeters, while in North America, it's mainly inch, and we have in North America quite a wide range of different inch sizes. What we, for example, offer in North America too are split row planters that we do not have here in Europe, because there's no demand for that. Okay. So there's quite a wide range of possibilities in terms of row numbers and working in row spacings.
So Johannes, tell me about the central fill system on this planter.
Yeah, this planter is equipped, and it's the same in North America, with the central fill system. We call it MTS, main tank supply. And it's actually that the tank is divided into two. There's a portion for fertilizer that's exactly the same in North America, and a tank for the seeds. And those seeds are supplied directly, like I said, by the main tank to each and every individual row unit. And by that, you see when looking at the row units, there's the tank, the plastic tank for the seeds missing because of the main supply, which means you can go way longer without having to, and you're not having the necessity of filling, in this case, 36 individual boxes. And by that, again, being able to work more efficiently, because you can load the machine and go way longer than having boxes on the back, which is important. And it's important in this machine that we have both fertilizer and seeds supplied by the main tank.
Yeah. So Johannes, seed placement is so critical to getting that even plant stand. What are some of the characteristics of this planter that allow for that?
Well, actually, this planter was designed not only for planting right, but in terms of planting right, to allow an extreme homogeneous and uniform desk placement. Because in our thinking and from what we know from independent research, having a uniform depth placement of the plants, of the seeds, is the most critical factor, together with planting at the right time window, to reach your maximum yield potential. Because a homogeneous and uniform seed placement results in a uniform and homogeneous emergence of plants, and that's critical to reaching the maximum yield. So the design of our row unit, how the parallelogram, the robustness, we talked about that earlier, of the parallelogram was designed, the weight of the row unit itself was designed in that way to allow a homogeneous depth placement, and we're happy and proud to say that we're in the industry set a standard with that, and set a standard even at somewhat higher speeds. Nowadays everybody is talking about high speed planting, even here in Europe. I've heard it a lot of times in North America, but high speed planting sometimes forget that the row units start traveling, and then you won't have an homogeneous depth placement anymore, which in the end you might still get a good singulation, but without the right depth placement, and specifically homogeneous depth placement, you will not be able to reach the maximum yield.
There was a couple other things you mentioned earlier in terms of what how when the Maestro is in North America, some of the differences. Can you go through some of those?
Yeah, sure. It's first of all, when we look at the back, the planter, it's a solid tank. It's a steel tank, which is why because here in Europe we mainly sell dry fertilizer planters. That's the majority of demand. That's here in Europe. So we do not offer liquid fertilizer planters. We have one liquid fertilizer here as well, but that's not very popular. In North America, it's exactly the other way around. So in North America, we wouldn't have that solid tank on the back of the machine, but plastic tanks for liquid fertilizer usage. In North America, actually, the height of the toolbar is slightly higher. So the design of the row unit is the same, but it's adapted and modified for a higher toolbar. Like the clearance of the toolbar is higher. Here in Europe, due to road regulations, we have to stay within 3 meters of transport width. That's a necessity that we don't have in North America. So here we have retractable actually transport wheels that would retract for road transport and go out in the field for more stability. What else is different in North America? Yeah, like I said, row width, the option of split row planting. I guess that's mainly it actually. Yeah.
Johannes, thanks a lot for joining us here today.
Thank you for being here. Thanks.